Hey, bud. You gonna have some more of that? No, we don't really feel like eating. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Saturday. I'm sure some of you are like, why is this dish there? He's a little odd. We'll put this dish in the normal spot, and he'll eat some. And then he'll stop eating, and then we'll move the dish to a different place, and he'll go, oh, and he'll continue working on it. Today is a little different, though. And today is the end of a streak, and it's a bad streak. Well, the streak itself was good. The streak was good. The fact that the streak has ended is bad. Since we've moved in, Kepler has not puked. And that has been really good because, as a reminder, Kepler has triaditis, which is an inflammation of his pancreas, liver, and gallbladder. And
the tube that connects them all. And
because of that inflammation, it can cause him problems. And the prognosis of triaditis is not terrible. It is something that you deal with by working at controlling the symptoms. And if he has inflammation inside of him, that can obviously cause him problems. And the worst problems are, puking and loss of appetite and those things.
Lethargy, diarrhea,
stuff like that. So the idea is to control those symptoms. And then if you control the symptoms, you can hopefully control, the disease itself. And since we've lived here now for over 2 months, he hasn't puked at all. And that's been somewhat miraculous because prior to this, which also, it's prior to moving, but it was also prior to him getting on medicine and adjusting his food, he had been puking, relatively frequently. And that was when he got his belly shaved, and they went and they looked and they said, he's still experiencing a lot of inflammation, and it wasn't just pancreatitis, it was triaditis. And he changed over to some prescription foods, and he had prednisone prescribed to him. And since then, he's actually been quite good. I mean, I'm sure that the stress of moving to a new location did not help him, but he hasn't puked. And of course, you know what I'm getting at. Today he did, and more than once. And this is difficult because what happens is we have to try and figure out why. And there has been a change. So we have to kind of walk backwards, retrace our steps to find out what was different. And there has been something that is different. So when he was prescribed this prescription food that he was on, he was actually given 3 different foods. And the idea that the vet had was like, hey, figure
out which one of these he likes.
Figure out which one that he likes. You could probably hear him trying to cover up the food. He does that. A lot of cats do that when they're done. And it sounds ridiculous because it's a hardwood floor and he is not going to be able to cover it up, but he will spend time trying. So the vet gave us 3 different options: Royal Canin, Purina, and Science Diet.
Yeah, prescriptions for those.
And they were all prescription foods, and we let him try them. We basically we bought one of each, and we cycled through it so we could try to slowly learn what he liked. And we learned that he really liked Royal Canin, and he was kind of lukewarm on the other 2.
Yeah.
He didn't really, really love them, but he would eat them. And he was slowly getting to the point between the 3 that anytime we gave him Purina or Science Diet, we kind of had to do some stuff to it. Like we would serve it, and sometimes he didn't even really want it, but in order to get him to eat, because he needs to eat and retain his weight.
Sometimes just moving the dish a little bit helps.
Sometimes giving him water, sometimes giving him sprinkles where we put dry food in it, or we actually have some fish flakes that we would sprinkle on top. So, we were doing all of these things to try and get him to to eat, and it was working. And again, throughout this entire period, he was good. He didn't have any issues. And then he was his food was getting low, and we were like, all right, we'll get some more food. And we were like, what food should we get? Well, he likes the Royal Canin the most. We'll get that. And that was sold out everywhere. We could not find the prescription Royal Canin food. And we always got our stuff from Chewy, and Chewy didn't have it, and Amazon didn't have it, and PetSmart and Petco and all these other places didn't have it.
Our vet didn't have it.
Our vet didn't have it. No one had it. And I was like, cool. All right. So we went with Science Diet. And this was right around the time that Alex and Haley were here. So this was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And in a short amount of time, like a day or two of only being fed the Science Diet, not rotating out to the other foods, Kepler kind of revolted against the diet. You know, he wasn't getting any variety, wasn't getting the other flavors, and he really doesn't like the Science Diet.
But that was the only
one. The Purina was sold out. The Royal Canin was sold out, and we only had access to the Science Diet. And I was like, well, he's got to have the prescription food. So that's what we were giving him, and we were trying to do everything we could to get him to eat it. But, I mean, he basically stopped eating. And, you know, to a degree, cats are manipulative, and I understand that. And there's a part of you that's like, well,
he'll eat when he's hungry.
He'll eat when he's hungry. And Kepler wasn't doing that.
But, I mean, you also can't do that with his condition.
Yeah. We tried to give him as much time as we could. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a situation where we gave him almost an entire day where we were trying to give him, you know, the same amount of food, and he just would not eat it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not good. He can lose weight quickly. It can be a bad situation.
Everything can spiral with the condition.
Yeah. So we were in a bind, and we were like, crap, he needs to eat. And
from what I was reading, a grain-free, high-quality wet cat food can also be something that cats with the condition can do well on.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, he ate the Tiki Cat. Maybe it was the prednisone that fixed him.
Yeah. So we decided that, and this was actually while Alex and Haley were here, we went to the pet store and we actually bought some more of the Tiki Cat food. Now, the Tiki Cat food, that's a high-quality food. I don't want to mince words here. Like, that's a really good food for cats. And if you're looking at any of the websites that, like, rate food for the nutritional content and
fillers and
things like that, like, Tiki Cat is often amongst some of the best. However, he has now been getting Tiki Cat and that Science Diet food mixed together for the last 2 weeks.
Because and part of it, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Part of it is he needs food that's easily digestible, and the Science Diet that he's eating that he doesn't like, we've been mixing it so he does get that through his system, so he does digest something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot here. So anyway, it's now been 2 weeks. He's been getting this food mixed together because otherwise he wasn't eating, and we have been meticulously checking on the Royal Canin to find out if it was back in stock, and it has not been.
It has not come into stock at all.
So we are just like, well, we'll just continue to do what we're doing. However, today he puked, and then in a little bit he puked again. And it's hard to tell exactly what's going on, but my current speculation about the situation is that perhaps, even though the Tiki Cat is a good food, it is not easily digestible by him in his current condition. So it's been, getting mixed together, and maybe now that it's been 2 weeks, it's finally gotten to him to the point where maybe he's experiencing inflammation again, and that's causing him to puke. Now, the downside of that is that means that he needs to stop eating it basically immediately.
Yeah.
He needs to not eat that if that's causing the problem. And the difficulty is, of course, you don't know that that's causing the problem. Maybe he could have eaten a bug or something that upset his stomach. It's hard to tell exactly. But the fact that he was on the Tiki Cat months ago, before this all happened, could potentially mean that it is the problem. We thought that the prednisone was the thing that was pulling a lot of the weight and what was helping him, and I'm sure it is. But there's a chance that the prescription food is actually doing a lot too, and if that's the case, then he probably needs to be more exclusively on that than including the Tiki Cat, which might be causing him problems. It is the one
thing that's changed, so we do need to take a step back to what was working when he's been not throwing up, and that is the step back.
Yeah, that's the only change.
We just have to figure out how to make him eat it.
Yeah, so that's where we're at, is, you have to go back to the last thing that worked. The last thing that worked is removing the Tiki Cat, and, so that's what we're going to do. And the problem is he does have to eat. So we're now in this weird situation of like, okay, we need him to eat his prescription food that he does not like. And we got to figure out how to get him to do that to hopefully see if that will allow his body to calm down. Now, we have a vet appointment already set up. It is set up for next month. And we've had it scheduled for a while, but, this is our first appointment at this new vet since we moved states. And, it may not come soon enough. Like, we have to monitor him and see how he's going to do over the next few days. But, we don't know. I mean, if it's just a bug and everything goes back to normal, then that's fantastic. I would prefer that. But if that's not it and he needs to eat his food and he's just choosing not to eat, that's bad. And we'll have to do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a great situation. I feel like a lot of this could be solved if that food would come back in stock, because he really liked that, but it's not. So we're going to have to put our heads together and try and figure out what we're going to do. And, there's a great deal of control that we have in the moment, that we can try some different things and see if we can figure something out. And then if we can't, we will have to go to the vet much sooner than his scheduled appointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It does.
It does suck because, you want to take as good of care of him as you possibly can. And it's really heartbreaking when you want to feed him and he doesn't want it, and you can't explain to him like, this food makes you better, buddy. Like, you have to eat it. So you're trying to do everything in your power to like make the food exciting so he'll consume it. And, it's not great. So yeah, triaditis is a weird one. It's not a huge problem. It doesn't have to be a huge problem. I mean, depending on the case, right? But the ball is kind of in Kepler's court a little bit. Like, he has to eat. He has to eat the right food, and he has to keep his weight up. And, we have to try and alleviate his symptoms, because if we don't, he can get bad. So we're just hopeful that we can get him feeling better as soon as possible. So I know he's hungry. I think that's been the hardest part today, is that I know he's been hungry because he wants to eat. And, you give him the food. And earlier when we had mixed in just a little bit, he ended up puking again. And just now I'm giving him just the prescription food. And he picked at it a little bit, but he really doesn't want it. And it makes me sad.
Yeah.
So I wish...
Behind you.
Where you at, bud? Are you laying up on the boxes? You're cute. You're so cute. Poor thing. We're going to have a little couch time. That's why I made the tea. Is after I turn off the vlog, I'm going to go get him and just hold him. Just spend a little time with him. And, obviously we'll keep everyone up to date about what's going on. And I think anyone that has watched the vlog for any amount of time knows that we would do literally anything for the cat. We will obviously go above and beyond for Kepler every single time, but it just really sucks.
I'm looking at new food now. Actually, that's what I was doing when you turned the vlog on. Yeah.
Yeah. We that's the struggle, is if we can't get the food because the food is out of stock. We're gonna have to come up with some sort of plan and get something, because we need him to eat, and we just have to try and figure out what we can get him to eat that isn't going to cause him to puke, that's not going to cause that inflammation. So, one of the things of choroiditis can be loss of appetite, and we need to get his appetite back and try to, make something happen. But we'll keep you up to date, and I'm hopeful that we can help him out and get him turned around. Right, buddy? Poor thing. Anyway, I hate that there's not like a happier resolution at the end of this vlog, but just know that we'll take care of him, and we'll do everything we gotta do to try and get him to eat and eat good food. But we'll try. All right, I'm done. I'm rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?